Hey everybody, this is Ampersand, and today I want to do a short tutorial on stereo imaging. So the first thing that I want you to know is that stereo is essentially the difference between the left and right signal. And to show you that, the most obvious way would be to have a guitar on the left, for example, and this vocal on the right. Great. So it sounds stereo because the guitar has different frequencies or a different pitch than the vocal, and it also plays at a different time than the vocal. But those differences are really strong in this example, and they can be more subtle, which I'm going to show you next. So I have this mono track here. Nice. But we want it to sound stereo. So the best way to do this is to have several takes. So I've already prepared these two and pen one of them to the left and the other one to the right. And because those are two separate recordings, they're gonna have very minor differences in pitch and time, and hopefully the differences will only be minor. Maybe I didn't hit the notes right at the exact time. Alright. But what's also important to note is the mono compatibility. And in this example, because we've done a double take here, it's more gentle for the mono signal because it's a more natural sound. The pitch and timing differences, they aren't static, and that's very important. So it sounds a bit like a chorus, but it still has its impact. And we can also create this artificially. So I have the main vocal track here and pen this to the left and the duplicate to the right. And guess what's gonna happen? Nothing. Because the files are identical, you can't possibly hear stereo out of this because there are no differences. And that just means we have to create these differences. And we can do so by using a delay for the time difference. Let's go by 8 milliseconds and 100% wet. That's very important. And on the other file, we're gonna go with, well, something else. You can mess around with those settings, but always check how it sounds in mono so you don't ruin your mono signal. And we also need to have a few pitch differences in those two files. And let's hear what they sound like in stereo first. So it's a bit more phasey than... Sorry, my phone. It's a bit more phasey than our natural double take. You can hear that especially in mono. So if you're not satisfied with the results, you can still tweak the delay time and the pitch differences as well. And you can also try using an LFO for maybe the detune. So it's gonna be a little more natural compared to the double take. But there are also different ways. For example, we can, if we have the original file here, I'm going to take the dimension expander from XFER audio. And this is not really a substitute for a double take, but it's a great way to create some artificial stereo information. And if we put this on in stereo, it's gonna sound like this. So it's pretty similar to a delay or reverb rather. Not exactly the same, but I'm gonna show you the difference in a second. Let's try a different setting. Da 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 da. And then mono again. Da 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 da. But what happens when I put this in mono with the plugin on? Da 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 da. And with it off. Da 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 da. It sounds identical, and that's because the information that this plugin creates cancels itself out in mono, at least. But you can still hear the difference in stereo. So I think this is a really great way to just create a little bit of subtle stereo information. Da 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 da. There are also other plugins that can do that, which I'm not gonna mention here. But regardless of what you want to use, always check how it sounds in mono again, so it doesn't screw up the mono signal, because mono is still relevant. That's it for now. If you have any suggestions on what I should do a tutorial on, then please tell me and I will look into it. And I hope you've learned something, and see you later.